What's going on, everybody? This video is about the use of labels in this upcoming political election, right? We're going to talk about slander over substance. This first video is going to be from 1999, and we're going to see a Donald Trump, then a Democrat, here praising Jesse Jackson.
What Chris Anthem is about. Thank you for that, Roger Ailes. I now want to bring forth a friend who has, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness and his commitment, while his success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. Beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of building with a builder of people. Last year he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Well, it is an honor to be here, and I was with Jesse last year, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a little different. We had a real panel where you asked questions and everything, and we didn't do so much speaking, so I'm going to get off here very quickly because I want to hear some questions. Jesse started off by saying most...
So that's it. I didn't want to go too far into the clip in the video, but what I wanted to say is that the shame about these political elections, and I think it reflects on the society as a whole that we live in now, is that we allow these politicians to get away with the slander over substance. In this case with Trump, it would be the overuse of the terms racism, racist, etc. And by the way, those of you who don't know, Donald Trump has changed his political affiliation 5 times. Democrat, Independent, Republican, Democrat, then back to a Republican. So this idea that you have to be stuck to one ideology or on one side of the political spectrum is ridiculous. Like I always say, Democrat, Republican are just opposite sides of the same coin. All right, but we're gonna stick to this idea, and that I presented about slander over substance. In this case, we're gonna talk about racism. All right, and again, to me, in today's society, the terms racist, racism are frequently used, if not overused, in public discourse, right? On social media, even in casual conversations, right? Everything is racist. It's like just if you want to dismiss someone, racist, right? You're gonna shut down everything that they're trying to say. All right, but historically, these terms were reserved to describe individuals or institutions that actively believed in and perpetuated the idea that one race is inherently superior to others. And then that led to discrimination and oppression. All right, but now in recent years, the meaning has broadened somehow, and it's often applied to a wide array of situations and opinions that do not necessarily fit the original definition. the you know the terms, the fact that it's not um people that say it's not overused, I think they need to rethink that. It's definitely it's become a powerful tool actually, for dismissing opposing viewpoints without really engaging in fact-based discussions. All right. And then what that does, it creates that a boy who cried wolf effect, because it undermines the seriousness of the true racism that takes place. I decided to extend the clip a little bit and put Donald Trump's part on so that you could hear him talking about giving black people jobs, etc. But I just want to finish this little discourse here again to lay the foundation. All right. So of course we know what racism traditionally has been understood as. Okay, this idea that one race is superior to others. All right, and it's manifested in different ways, whether it's been through enslavement, enactment of segregation laws, etc., to systematically hold down certain groups. All right. So in its most explicit or purest form, it's grounded in prejudice, discrimination, and just based on racial identity. Okay, so we know that that's a given. All right. However, with this expansion and overuse of the term, all right, now it's being used in situations where there's really no evidence, right? There's no clear evidence that it even exists. So, for example, a politician, may say something, or for instance, where recently Trump has questioned the authenticity of Kamala Harris being identified as a black woman. It's like, oh, that's racist. So now you can't even ask a question without the label being thrown out. But again, it's being used now as a tactic to, dismiss. All right. It's I can just shut you down real quick with that. All right. So to me, that's one of the most concerning aspects, is that you could just dismiss opposing viewpoints without engaging in any kind of meaningful debate. All right. The accusation itself carries a big stigma. It's like accusing a man of the R word. It's like you say that, it's like, what can somebody, how can you defend yourself? Even when you fully defend yourself, or you get acquitted of the accusation, there's still people looking at you with the side eye, like, yeah, he did it, but he got off, or he had a good lawyer or something. Okay, so when somebody is labeled in this way, right, particularly racist, it just ends the conversation basically. Okay, and then the person that is accused is put on the defensive, because now you can't address the topics that are supposed to be being discussed. So, for example, these politicians are supposed to be talking specifics about what they are going to do in the country to help alleviate these various situations. All right, dealing with the economy or what have you. But instead, it's just a back and forth of accusations. And now, instead of being able to deal with, hey, this is what I'm going to do to lower inflation, or to deal with the border migrant situation, now I have to spend money and time showing and making photo ops saying, hey, I'm not really racist. I'm really a nice guy. I love blacks. I love the Negroes. Foolishness like that. Or some politicians changing their accents at in certain parts of the country to try to identify with people, or having people twerk on stage. All right. So again, to me, that's more offensive than anything. But hey, it's just like having a whole bunch of chicken and watermelon at an event. That no words need to be said. It's just the image and the things that go along with it. All right. But again, when the term racist is used to discredit an argument without addressing the content, it prevents the possibility of a constructive exchange of ideas. All right, so instead of engaging with the factual basis, the focus shifts on to the character to the person. This is what we call identity politics, right? The focus shifts on to the character of the person making the argument, and then it just basically derails the discussion. All right, and then there's no understanding of whatever the issue was. It's totally blurred. So, for instance, in discussions about crime statistics and their relation to race, one might present data to argue that certain social economic factors will contribute to higher crime rates in specific communities. But instead of addressing the data and its implications, right? Chicago, for example, Baltimore, Philly, right? An opponent might just label the argument as racist, effectively shutting down any further explanation or exploration of the issue. All right, so this just silences the original speaker and then deprives the audience of the opportunity to engage with the facts and form their own opinion. So this is what is so, to me, this is what is so shameful and bad about using these terms and labels. Is that it just shuts down any kind of meaningful discourse, and what you do is you continue to drive the wedge in between people. All right, you just continue to drive the wedge. Nothing gets resolved. I drop a label on you. I say you're racist. You say I'm misogynistic. I say you're homophobic. You say I'm transphobic, and there's just labels being tossed back and forth. And this is, of course, orchestrated to keep people apart. And I had just wanted to show this clip because it just shows, if you grew up in New York City, in the 80s, and 90s, you already know Donald Trump. You've seen Donald Trump a lot in the media, being liberal, and you just don't go from hanging around blacks and helping different causes and donating to this and that, and then all of a sudden you're just racist overnight like that. And it's just a shame that these type of tactics have to be used. So I'll play this clip of Trump talking, and then I'll get into my my closing. So check it out.
Workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Well, it is an honor to be here, and I was with Jesse last year, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a little different. We had a real panel where you asked questions and everything, and we didn't do so much speaking, so I'm going to get off here very quickly because I want to hear some questions. Jesse started off by saying most of the wealth in this country is in the hands of a few. And I thought to myself, is that a bad thing? What's wrong with that, Jesse? But he did have an expression last year, and I was just telling Roger, he had an expression last year, the wall on wall must fall. And you haven't used it today, and I'm very disappointed in this, Jesse, because I thought it was a great expression. And I heard the expression about 14 times, and then he came to me at the end of the session, and he said, listen, I want some office space in your building on Wall Street, because the wall on wall will fall. And I said, it's okay, Jesse, I'll make a good deal with you. I'll get you some space. You'll pay about $40 a foot. And he said, no, I don't want to pay 40. I said, how about 30? No. It was the cheapest deal I ever made in the history of 40 Wall Street. Is that right? He got it for nothing. He's a very tough negotiator. We know that, right? Nah, he's a terrific guy. We love him, and I'm here for him. And the snow came, and I said, gee, nobody's going to show up, and look at this place, it's packed. I do want to say a couple of things. First of all, where's Percy? Oh, okay. I thought you left, Percy. That would have been terrible. I get up and you leave. I would have been insulted. But, he's been a special friend of mine for 25 years, for a long time. And Percy was the borough president of Manhattan when I was really starting out, and he helped me so much on the Commodore Hotel, which he mentioned before, which became the Grand Hyatt. and so many other things. And he is really, and I listened to him speak, and I said to Roger and Roy, listen to those tones, listen to that voice. Have you heard that before, by the way? What a beautiful tone, and what a beautiful man. And we love him. You really were a big help to me right at the beginning, and I really appreciate it. And you've done some great jobs. So I just want to sort of acknowledge that. Now, another couple, I'm sitting here with this man, Roy. If you want to borrow money, but with him you have to pay it back. That's the best. But if you want to borrow money on Wall Street, you go see Roy, because there's nobody like him at Goldman Sachs. And if you do want to run for president, you see this guy. You're 3-0. And when he left Bush, you know what happened to Bush's last campaign, folks? It wasn't very pretty. And now we have President Clinton, who's coming tonight. And I guess you like President Clinton very much, right, Jesse? Huh? Stand up and say it, Jesse.
That's when he was Democrat, right? So, hey, President Clinton is the man.
Well, I'll just say a few words. I mean, Wall Street and New York City and this whole region is doing unbelievably well. I'm building a job on the West Side, which is the largest job ever approved by the New York City Planning Commission. You see it going up along the West Side Highway. It's almost 10 million square feet. It's 18 buildings, and it's...
What I wanted just to say real quick, just on that thought of changing political affiliations, you can see how fluid it is. It's these guys at this level, you know, it's multimillionaires, billionaires. Political affiliation is a matter of expediency and convenience. Whatever is going to be best for my business, best for my companies and organizations to prosper. That's what side of the fence I'm going to be on. And you see this happen. And again, this just shows the condition of the people in this country, how people will be so rooted to one party. For instance, most blacks, I think 98% of blacks vote Democrat every election. Just like mindless robots. Like I told you in the beginning of this video, this man has changed political affiliation at least 5 times. And whether you agree or not, at least that shows that there's some type of thought. Whether it's, hey, I don't like this new regime that came in, so I'm changing the party, or whatever. It at least shows the flexibility that, hey, I don't like what's going on. I'm out. How is it that 98% of blacks vote the same monolithically for the most part, no matter what, every year, Democrat, and have the same complaints every 4 years, have the same issues as over and over and over, and just stay in the same thing? I'm not telling you who to vote for. Again, if you follow this channel, you already know I'm not with the whole 2-party Republican, Democrat, and all that stuff. But I'm talking to those of you who do vote. Why would you think just so monolithically and just keep, you know, on the same, you know, same path, and then having the same results, and then having the same complaints every 4 years, thinking someone is going to come and save you? I remember, if you go back to when Obama was elected, people were crying and all tears and all this emotion. Remember, Yes We Can, all of that stuff, and now you're still, a lot of you are still in the same situation because you're putting your trust in some a demagogue, a speaker, instead of putting your trust in a man upstairs and believing in yourself and doing what you got to do. You know, that's why I like listening to brother Rizza Islam, is that he constantly talks about do for self. It doesn't matter who's in office. If you're not willing to work hard, get yourself educated, get yourself a trade, and do what you have to do, it doesn't matter like who's in office. So you get caught up in this game back and forth, these politicians throwing these labels out. And again, we're gonna get right into that in my closing, but it's just something to think about. Like I said, you can hear Trump now talking to, Jesse Jackson. These are liberals of the liberals, right? If you look in the dictionary, what's a liberal? Jesse Jackson, Rainbow Coalition. So he had the rainbow before the rainbow was even popular. He had the rainbow in the 80s. Well, Jesse Jackson is like the OG of the rainbow. And Clinton, we already know, like these are the liberal of the liberals. But this is where this man was at the time. Let's continue.
It's really going to be something. We're building a building that you probably heard of recently. It's the tallest residential tower anywhere in the world. It's 90 stories. People aren't happy about the fact that I'm building a 90-story building in New York City, but it's an as-of-right. It's called an as-of-right building, meaning you can do it by zoning, and it's going to be truly magnificent, right directly across from the United Nations. We just bought the General Motors building. We just completed Trump International Hotel and Tower, which just yesterday got the Mobile 5-star award. Only 4 in the country got it for its whatever it is, and it's been a tremendous success. We're doing a lot of other things, and I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up, and they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is black and minority folks. So I just want to thank everybody in the room for being here. I look forward.
That's what I wanted everybody to hear. Did you see that? He said large percentage of the jobs are built by black, then he said, and minority folks, and they do a great job. And again, this is the type of talk that you're not gonna hear from somebody that is like traditionally just hates, somebody from another race. Now, believe me, I'm not naive. I know that it can be done, and you could just be, saying things just to look good on the outside, but then inside have certain feelings. But again, like I said, me growing up in New York City, I've seen many different interviews with Trump, or articles written and things like that. And so to put that label on him, to me, is like kind of like a far stretch. But again, to me, it's more of a distraction. But what I see is both the left and the right engage in these type of tactics. I liked how that sound, actually. I want to hear that again.
Do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is black and minority folks. So I just want to thank everybody in the room for being here. I look forward to some questions. And then I don't know how we're ever going to leave this building today, because if you look outside, it is terrible. But we'll figure a way. There's always a way. And thank you, Jesse, and congratulations.
So we get into our closing, right? Slander over substance.
Chris and the is about. Thank you for that, Roger.
Slander over substance, right? How the Democrats and Republicans attack each other without addressing real issues. All right. So again, this battle often devolves into name calling and personal attacks. And to me, this reflects the people, because this is what we accept. We don't demand better, so this is what we get. We get WWE wrestling. All right, and you can go on YouTube right now and put Trump is crazy, or Trump is out of his mind, and there'll be a bunch of videos giving you exactly what you want, preaching to the choir. You can put a video, Kamala slept her way to the top, and then you'll get a bunch of videos on that, or how she's not black, stuff like that. Again, all distractions. People can tell you more about the ethnicity, who's racist, who's this or that, but they can't tell you where that politician stands on certain issues, and that's telling. All right, and to me, this trend has become increasingly apparent in recent years. Both parties focus more on discrediting their opponents than offering any insights or agendas. All right? And by resorting to slander, they distract from the real issues at hand and undermine the public's ability to make informed decisions. But again, to me, I blame the people, the public, for not being woke, to use that term in the most positive sense. Not opening their eyes. The fact that they can present this to you and you're running around talking about Project 2025 and haven't read one page of it, and they're able to manipulate and put all this fear into you, it just shows that the society is truly The empire that is truly on the decline. So one example is just how President Trump, or former President Trump, uh, is characterized by his opponents. Crazy. That's one word used, right? Dismissive. Call somebody crazy. Remember Dave Chappelle said that, right? That's an easy way to dismiss somebody, is by calling them crazy. Unhinged, unstable, right? These are words that are frequently used, and they're used over and over and over, right? Get in your subconscious. All right? And so these labels are intended to cast doubt on his fitness for office. But they don't address any actual policies that he implemented. Why aren't these being brought up? Hey, remember, Trump was president already from 2016 to 2020. Why isn't anything that he did during his administration brought up? Because now you have factual things that you can go back, like, hey, you made this decision, or you signed this executive order, that didn't work out, or it did work out, or something like that. None of that is brought up. All right. So instead of, and addressing the long-term impact of the administration. But instead of engaging with those political decisions, it's more, let's go to personal insults, which just grab attention. All right. But the voters, at the end of the day, still in the fog as far as the understanding of the policy alternatives being offered. And this is not one-sided. The Republicans also do the same thing against the Democrats. For instance, for Vice President Kamala Harris, she's been the target of many personal attacks from Republican figures. She's been labeled as dumb or incompetent. Now look at this woman's credentials. How could they did the same thing with Obama, saying he was dumb or he's incompetent. The guy's president of Harvard Law School. Like how the law department. How could that's so disrespectful just to dismiss somebody. Oh, they're dumb. How could somebody at that level be dumb? You might not agree, but just to say, oh, they're dumb, they're incompetent. How so? Right? So these labels, dumb, incompetent, right? I've also seen online, oh, she slept with this person and Willie Brown and all this stuff. Again, often with little regard for her policy positions or professional achievements. What are the attacks for? They serve to undermine credibility without engaging in any critique of her policies or philosophy. By focusing on the personal slander, you avoid having to address the issues at hand or present your own solution. So, right, I don't have to deal with any of the issues. If I can get you thinking, oh, she slept with Willie Brown when she was 26 years old. Did you hear what Judge Joe Brown said about Kamala Harris? They did the same thing with Obama, right? When he ran, they had the Reverend, I forgot his name. Obama was in the church for like 20 years, and the guy was saying all this stuff about Obama. They get you off on a tangent, so you don't even know what the issues are, what they favor, what they don't favor. You're just like off. It basically becomes a popularity/morality contest. Oh, Trump, here's a picture with Jeffrey Epstein back in 1992. Look, he was on the island. Oh, look, there's the Clintons right there. Right? You get caught up in all that. Oh, Hunter Biden's laptop has some incriminating. His Joe Biden's son is on drugs or whatever. He committed this crime. This money's being funneled here and here. Again, you have no idea of the issues because you're so distracted. And just most recently, right, after Kamala picked a VP, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, I think that's how you pronounce that. He was accused of immediately. I never even heard of this guy, Tim Walz, right? I didn't know who the governor of Minnesota was. Never even heard of this guy. You know what the first thing I heard was that he was accused of stolen valor, which is a very serious accusation. That is wild. Immediately didn't say, oh, he's governor of Minnesota. He's achieved this, that. He has a degree from here, or his education, his family, he believes in XYZ concerning the economy, that we should do XYZ. No, the first thing I heard, stolen valor. And for those of you who don't know what stolen valor is, just real quick, in layman's terms, it's basically when you kind of fake the funk when it comes to the military service. A lot of guys will do this for some reason. It's akin to impersonating a police officer. It's almost like a mental illness. So you're trying to boost your credibility, right? So you fake certain things. So maybe you were just a sergeant. Maybe you were a sergeant in the army, but you'll say that you were in special forces, right? In a secret elite military group. You'll just pad your military resume, right? And there's different levels of stolen valor. Some people never were in the military, period, and they'll say they were like Navy SEALs and they were on all these secret missions and stuff. They have the uniform, all type of stuff. They'll really go in on it, right? And of course, you can see how that would be very offensive to someone who actually serves in the military. People that have lost, buddies in the military. People suffering from PTSD. It's no joke. And then you have a dude that never served or anything saying, yeah, I was over there and I did this and we, in combat and stuff like that. Even saying you were in combat, like you could have been in the military, but saying you were in combat and you weren't is stolen valor. So if say you were like in Finland, you were stationed in Finland, but you were saying, hey, I was in Afghanistan fighting, right? Stolen valor. So the first thing that I hear about this dude when he comes out is stolen valor. Nothing about the issues. So here's Senator J.D. Vance, who is now the Republican vice presidential nominee, talking about Tim Walz. Now, just think about what we've just been what we have just been speaking about, as far as the slander, not addressing any issues, etc.
Now, look, what really bothers me about Tim Walz, it's not even the positions that he's taken, though certainly he has been a far left radical. You know what really bothers me about Tim Walz?
Far left radical. Again, we don't know what is that. We don't know what. But let's keep going.
As a Marine who served his country in uniform, when the United States Marine Corps, when the United States of America asked me to go to Iraq to serve my country, I did it. I did what they asked me to do it, and I did it honorably, and I'm very proud of that service. When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the Army and allowed his unit to go without him, a fact that he's been criticized for aggressively by a lot of the people that he served with. I think it's shameful to prepare your unit to go to Iraq, to make a promise that you're going to follow through, and then to drop out right before you actually have to go. I also think it's dishonest. Something, again, if you guys ever get an opportunity to ask Tim Walz or Kamala Harris some questions, he made this interesting comment that the Kamala Harris campaign put out there, and I bet they're regretting they put it out there now, because he said that and he was making a point about gun control. He said we shouldn't allow weapons that I used in war to be on America's streets. Well, I wonder, Tim Walz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq, and he has not spent a day in a combat zone? What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not. And if he wants to criticize me for getting an Ivy League education, I'm proud of the fact that my mamaw supported me, that I was able to make something of myself. I'd be ashamed if I was him and I lied about my military service like he did. Sir.
So you can see those are heavy accusations, right? Not one issue has been brought up or addressed. It was basically, hey, dismiss this candidate totally. The guy's a fake, a fraud, a phony, a stand. He's not real. All of that. If just think about it. If what this guy is saying is true about his opponent, there's no reason to listen to anything the opponent has to say. And this is where we're at as a society, that the personal attacks. Whoever has the best personal attacks is going to be uplifted by the people, regardless of substance. It reminds me of the rap battles in hip hop, right? Whoever has the best lyrics, whoever has the best beats, gonna win. So right in the last big battle, right, with Drake and Kendrick Lamar, everybody sided with Kendrick Lamar, right? Before that, when you had Nas and Jay-Z going at it, right? Everybody uses the term, right, to this day, ethered, right? They be like, yo, he ethered that guy, right? He just ethered Tim Walz right now, accusing him of stolen valor, right? That's how much that song Ether resonated, excuse me. All right. But again, while it's entertaining, in all the accusation does is basically discredits him personally. All right, it distracts from any political discourse surrounding the policies and leadership during his 10 years as governor. We don't know anything based on that. We just know, okay, according to this guy, he's a fraud and a phony. All right. So again, if you wanted to stick to the issues, we would talk about Tim Walz as a governor. What did he do as a governor? What was going on the last few years? COVID-19, for example, the pandemic, economic policies. There's so much to choose from, because when a guy is actually in office, you can just go and look at their record and things that they did in office, because that's going to be a reflection or something you can use to project what they're actually going to do as vice president. You can say, hey, man, you believe in, bail reform, or you let the people burn down the city in Minnesota and stuff like that, because you're a governor. But instead of bringing those things up, it's immediate personal attack. All right. So instead of focusing on those things, you come up with this, ad hominem attack that has little bearing on his ability to govern. All right. So again, what's the effect? It prevents the voters from evaluating the actual effectiveness of his administration. Like, in other words, can the guy do the job? I have no idea. Still, after all of that hyperbole, I still have no idea. Can Tim Walz do the job? Right? So the focus on personal attacks rather than policy also serves to polarize the electorate even further. And that's why you had this big division in the country, because there's going to be half of the people that believes what this guy says, especially if they already have a dog in the fight. Right? I'm a lifelong Republican. So they're just going to take what he says at face value. That's it. Then there's going to be the other half. I'm a lifelong Democrat. And they're going to reject what he says. Even if it may be true. They're just going to reject the personal attack. And they're going to pick their side. And then what you have in between is a chasm. Nothing gets discussed. Nothing gets resolved. All right? So it's basically each side trying to ether the other side with personal attacks, right? One side, oh, you racist. The other side, you're homophobic. You hate, women. Right? Trump has been accused of that, right? Not being nice to women, right? Making certain comments and stuff. Remember, Trump's been in the media for 50, 60 years. So there's a lot of clips of him saying suspect stuff. I'll be the first to admit that. Again, I don't have a dog in the fight. See, because my personal belief is there's corruption on both sides. Nobody is like sin free. Nobody is righteous. So to try to present one side as being righteous and moral, upstanding, the other side not, give me a break. Let's grow up here. All I care about is who can do the best job. That's it. Who can do the job the best? I don't care who slept with who back in 1992. Right? Back when OPP was out and all that. I don't care. Who can do the best job? I don't care if Kamala Harris was with some dude when she was 26 and he helped her political career, all the stuff like that, because if you involved in that system, there's no way you unscathed with all the money that's involved with these corporations, lobbying and stuff like that. So give me a break on the morality and trying to be upstanding and all this stuff like that. You could save that for some other sucker that's going to buy into that. All right? So, again, it polarizes the electorate. So when politicians and supporters engage in slander, they create an environment, which is what we have right now, where voters are more likely to view the opposition as not just wrong, but morally or intellectually deficient. So what do you have? People, oh, they're dumb, they're moron. Go on your Facebook right now. You have friends, I'm sure, that talk about politics, and you'll see people saying this crazy stuff. They'll be like, oh, Trump is an idiot, or Kamala's an idiot, and all of these memes and stuff. Meanwhile, you're struggling, busting your back at a 9 to 5. These people are multimillionaires. You're on Facebook or Twitter calling them stupid. Who's really the stupid one? Right? They're living in luxury. If this country shut down tomorrow, they have a place to go outside the country somewhere. They have friends all over the world, probably homes in different regions of the world. You're stuck here. Who's really the dummy? You see? But this is where we're at as a society. Sleep. So they create an environment where the voters are more likely to view the opposition as not just wrong, but morally or intellectually deficient. This deepens divisions and makes it more difficult for any meaningful dialogue to occur. Okay? Because again, if you're just think about it. If you're husband, like say you're husband and wife, or you're in a relationship, any kind of relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you. Right? Even if the person is right? Say they criticize, say you did something wrong, right? Let's say, I'm going to make up a scenario. Let's say it's raining real hard outside and, I forget to close the window, and as a result, the rain gets in and the carpet gets all wet and stuff like that, right? And I come home, my girlfriend or my wife is like, hey, I just want to let you know that you left the window open and the carpet got all wet, but don't worry, I dried it up and it's fine. Just be a little mindful next time. Then I say, oh, I'm so sorry, I was in a rush, I forgot, like my fault. Okay, see, we resolved the issue. But what if the same scenario, she said, you stupid idiot, you don't have any brains, why don't you use them? What's wrong with you? You left the window open, and it gets real aggressive, start yelling at me. What's that gonna do? That's gonna put me immediately on the defensive, because now I'm not even thinking about what I did. I'm thinking about, like, man, I'm under attack here. Right? That's how it deepens divisions. Because what happens is, once you say the person is morally and intellectually deficient, so for instance, in this case, now the guy's stolen valor. So you're not trying to hear anything. This guy's lying about his service in the military. How disgraceful. There's no way he can be vice president. No way he can be a heartbeat away from the presidency. All right. So both parties, instead of working together to try to solve the issues, which is what's supposed to be happening in theory, right on paper, parties become more entrenched in their positions. And there's no compromise, right? It's a very rare compromise. And then, to add to that, the media amplifies the personal attacks, okay? And what they do is they reduce the space for policy discussions. Why? Because it doesn't sell. You got to remember, the media's purpose is just to get you to watch. So they have to make it as entertaining and salacious as possible. They just want you watching. They want to put up a front like, hey, we're going to show you unbiased news. How is it unbiased when you can go to CNN and Fox covering the same story and get totally opposite opinions, totally opposite viewpoints on the same situation consistently? Fox viewpoint will always align with the right wing viewpoint. CNN, MSNBC always will be aligned with the Democratic viewpoint, no matter what is said. This is ridiculous. This is not natural, right? So the media amplifies the personal attacks because they're more entertaining, right? What's more entertaining, a personal attack about somebody stealing military valor, or hey, he voted against a mandate. He voted for a mandate in during COVID, the pandemic. No, the accusation, the slander is more. Is gonna get more clicks, more views, more likes. So this is how the media. This is how the media helps to deepen the division, right? So again, it's more about sensational headlines, the sound bites, and it's like a loop, and it just keeps going and going and going. All right, so the public is just fed a steady diet of slander, controversy, and the critical issues facing the nation are just relegated to the background, to the point where people don't even really know what the issues are. People just know basically, hey, I'm struggling, things cost more, the gas prices are higher. If you notice, that's what the politicians always try to bring up. Oh, look at the gas prices are higher, or the economy is going down, the stock market's crashing. People don't even know have stocks. And they're lucky if they have a 401k, but they see the stock market crashing. Oh my God. You know nothing about stocks. And so it's easy. And then the politician comes out, blames the current administration, of course, as if these things, just happen, take place. Like it takes exactly 4 years to destroy everything. Blame the current administration. People, oh yeah, that's right. We gotta get Biden out of the office. It's ridiculous. All right. So again, to me, it's more of an indictment on the people, right? Because you're getting what you put into it. As the old saying goes, right? You get what you deserve. Basically, what you're seeing in society is a reflection of you. We're seeing a reflection of us as a whole. That's really all it is, right? We're getting what we put out. So we see the degeneracy. We're putting out the degeneracy. We're co-signing it, and that's what we get. We say we don't want our women twerking and exposed and all that stuff like that, but I disagree. We really do, because if we didn't want that, it wouldn't be in front of us. It wouldn't be put before us. This is what we want. Like I say, in the term now I coined, the Barabbas effect. This is what we want. We want Barabbas, right? We pay lip service. It's like that saying in the Bible. I believe Jesus said, it says that they honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Yeah, in our heart, with our lips, we like, oh yeah, we want Jesus, we want the righteousness, right? We want everything, no crime. We want safe place for our children, to walk the streets and go to school and all that stuff like that. But in our hearts, we want Barabbas. We want the evil, right? We want the gang activity and gang violence, so that we can click on YouTube and see what happened to Julio Fulio and go to all the videos and everybody talking about what happened, and King Von and all of these different unfortunate situations. In our hearts, that's what we want, right? Until it happens, until it hits close to home, then it stopped the violence, then it's crying, then it's we need to do something about XYZ, right? But this is a societal thing. It's reflecting the society. All right. So anyway, just in conclusion, the tendency of the Democrats and Republicans to slander each other rather than engage in meaningful debates is a big problem, right? By focusing on personal attacks, both parties detract from the important work of solving the nation's problems and offering clear, actionable agendas. Again, nobody knows what the agendas are. It's like, oh, Project 2025. No, it's Agenda 47. All this nonsense. This approach not only misleads the public, but deepens political divisions, making it harder to achieve consensus on issues that matter most. If American politics is to move forward, both parties got to shift their focus from slander to substance, providing voters with the insights and solutions they need to make informed decisions. Now, I would modify and say that for it to move forward, it's not really, again, it's not about the parties. It's not about the external. It's about the internal. Again, the people have to wake up and change and demand more. Right? If you look back, even just real quick, if you just look back, say to the 1960s and 70s, and you look at the music, the popular music reflected the majority of the society. Of course, you always gonna have your underground, you always gonna have the crime, the poor, the gangsterism, stuff like that. But that wasn't promoted at the top of the, as the representative of the society. Those things were on the underground, right? Of course, you had your pimps and dealers and all that stuff, but that wasn't glorified. What was glorified was the love, right? You hear Motown, right, for the black community, right? You had the Motown and all these groups, right? People dressing in suits and dresses, nice outfits and stuff like that, and Stevie Wonder, and you had all these beautiful lyrics and artists, right? If you listen to a lot of the 70s music, 60s and 70s music, and look at the words, it's like the words are beautiful. Like Stevie Wonder songs, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Go and look. I'm telling you, if you're young, man, if you don't want to listen to the music, just go look at the words of some of those songs. Some of those Earth, Wind, and Fire songs, like Devotion, Fantasy, A Song. Go look at those words, and you'll see the beautiful beauty of these words. Parliament Funkadelic, Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts. Right? Check that stuff out. But again, it reflected the people. And then you can see as time, you had Ain't No Stopping Us Now, super positive song. And then you can see as the society is socially engineered, right? More and more drugs and things like that start taking over. That becomes more prominent. Now you have a reversal where all that stuff still exists, right? The love songs and all that stuff, that stuff still exists, but it's like on the back burner now. Now it's reversed to where the evil is more prominent, right? The animalistic side is more, the lower nature is more prominent, and that's what's presented. That's what's glorified. So anyway, those are my thoughts, on politics in general and society in general, and I hope you guys have a good day. Please support the channel, donating in the links below, and also please get in the comments and let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And yes, I will continue to read the Project 2025 little at a time. All right, thank you. See you later.